Hi there, welcome to the first office chat of 2017. So we're going to discuss issues that are related to terrorism and counterterrorism in the last couple of weeks. Well, there's one person has said a lot about terrorism and counterterrorism the last couple of days, and it has been given a lot of attention. That's the new President of the United States, Donald Trump. In his inaugural speech, he mentioned also counterterrorism, and he said, "We will unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth." Well, strong words. And also in the first weeks after this speech, we see some indication on how the new president wants to achieve that. And one of the measures was one taken on January the 27th, when he signed an executive order titled "Protecting the Nation from Foreign Terrorist Entry into the United States," listing 7 countries: Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen. So citizens from these countries are not allowed to enter the United States for a certain period of time. Well, I don't want to go into detail about the ethical and legal implications of this measure, or the legal side and ethical side of this matter. Some call this a Muslim ban, linking this to Trump's earlier statement on his website, in which he said, and I quote, Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. But what can we say about this current executive order in terms of efficiency? Will it help or not, or make things worse? Well, many officials and experts have reacted to this measure, among them 2 Republicans, 2 senators from the Republican Party, Lindsey Graham and John McCain. And they said the following. They said, "This executive order sends a signal, intended or not, that America does not want Muslims coming into our country. And that is why we fear this executive order may do more to help terrorist recruitment than improve our security." Well, there's an expert in the United Kingdom, Charlie Winter, who is also an associate fellow of the International Center for Counterterrorism in The Hague. He's based in London, and he's an expert on the propaganda of groups like the so-called Islamic State. And he said the following: "There is no doubt in my mind that wherever they are, propagandists for groups of the likes of Islamic State will be looking at what is happening and rubbing their hands with glee, because this is exactly the kind of world they want to inhabit. It's a world that reifies their ideology." So the terrorists, in the eyes of Charlie Winter, will be very happy with that. It fits their narrative about a hypocrite West, about a clash of civilizations, etc. So they will be very happy about that. Then let's look at the facts. What do we know about foreigners attacking US citizens on US soil? Well, there's a report by the conservative Cato Institute, the CATO Institute, that published a study into foreign-born terrorists in the United States. And it looked at all attacks in the last 15 years, so in the period after 9/11. And it says that 24 people had been killed by 5 foreign-born terrorists. Among them, probably the Boston bombing with 2 youngsters that were born in Russia. Not one of the 7 countries, born in Russia, Chechen background. It also said that 80 people were killed by Native Americans. So more people are actually killed by Native Americans than by foreign-born Americans. And the conclusions of the Cato Institute in that report is the following: "These policies will not improve national security and will undermine America's effort to combat Islamic extremism and terrorism around the world." So far from experts, quite negative reactions saying it will not be effective, let alone all kinds of ethical and legal questions that you can link to this executive order. Then neighboring Canada. Last night we learned about, here in Europe at least, Leiden, The Hague time, we learned about an attack in the city of Quebec. 6 people apparently have been killed in a shooting in a mosque, and the Prime Minister of Canada, Trudeau, said it was a terrorist attack. Well, we don't know yet. We have not specific information about the perpetrators. There's been some names, age, weapons, something has been called, people heard something, but it's not solid evidence yet, so we have to be careful. Could be jihadists, could be right-wing extremists, but it could also be, I don't know, something within that community. So we have to be careful labeling a terrorist when we don't know exactly who the perpetrators are and what their intentions were. So let's wait and see. Then let's move to Africa, the country of Nigeria. That has been struggling with the organization called Boko Haram for the last 7 years. They have been successful in the last couple of months in fighting Boko Haram, but unfortunately the Nigerian Air Force by accident bombarded a refugee camp near the border of Cameroon, killing more than 100 people. And in general, that struggle against Boko Haram, and especially the attacks by Boko Haram, has killed a lot of people in Nigeria, about 20,000, and more than 2.5 million people have been internally dispersed. So a very serious situation, an ongoing situation in Nigeria. The same holds for Syria and Iraq. The fight against the so-called Islamic State, that group is losing ground in Iraq. The Iraqi forces and their allies have reconquered, liberated the eastern part of the city of Mosul, but that fight is far from over. And also if we look at the situation in Syria, we see that Islamic State is still capable of attacking. Currently in Deir ez-Zor, in the middle of Syria, they reconquered Palmyra just a few weeks ago. They're losing ground somewhere else, but an ongoing fight, unfortunately. Well, that's it for this month. Hope to see you back in February. So see you next month.